Good morning and welcome to Irreverent Knits. This is Tracy. I'm the owner of Low Country Shrimp and Knits, and with me is Judy, the fabulous owner and mass creator of Maggie Loves Yarn. I'm going to move this camera over here a little closer to us because we're like ants, so it's going to definitely be hard to show anything we're doing when we are the size of ants, which is good. It makes me look much skinnier when I'm the size of an ant, but does that line up okay?
I guess
Okay.
I'm on the right on the phone.
Yeah.
The left over here.
Oh,
so
my
I'm always
God.
confused.
Yeah, we're always confused as it is. So welcome. It is hotter than Hades. So hopefully those of you that are in Texas and Houston, you're safe. You probably have no power still, but
No, they don't. I feel bad.
hopefully you're at least someplace where you can get some AC. You've road tripped, whatever the case is. So we are just doing our thing here in South Carolina. In fact, today is supposed to be heat index feels like 107.
But that's a cold front because it was 112 over the weekend.
Yeah, we've cooled off quite a bit. So yeah, 107 feels like today. So it is a good excuse to stay indoors or come here to Low Country Shrimp and Knits in Bluffton, and
because that's where all the cool people come.
That's where the cool kids come. We have the AC cranking. In fact, the other day, I was in here by myself, and I'm like, wow, this perimenopause is so awesome. I'm like, I'm dying. It's so freaking hot in here. What is going on? I'm like, oh, the air died. So I was like, because the air conditioning had died. I was like, oh, that's why it's so hot. It's not just me. It's also the air. So then I go and the whole thing is blank. The whole unit is blank. So I'm like, all right, well, is it just the power? So I put batteries in.
Sometimes it is that. Yeah, we've had that problem.
Yeah, so I'm like checked it out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, it's not the power. I was like, because it comes right back on, but it's not triggering. I'm like, it's got to be this. So I go out, I check the fuse box. I'm like, it's not that. It's not the thermostat. I went outside to see if anyway, I did whatever I could do, and so I called the managers of the building, and he comes in and hits the box. Yeah, you're gonna have to call someone. Like that. So thank you. That was so helpful. Yeah, that was so helpful. So anyway, got it fixed. Long story short. So today I know it works. So come on in.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, the drip pan, it had backed up, and so it was full, so it automatically, so it didn't overflow.
It's that damn drip pan.
Yeah, it was a quick fix, but not one I could do myself. So anyway, it is going to be nice and cool in here today for our open knit. Come and play with us. We are going to show you some new fun yarn. But I wanted to talk yesterday. So sometimes the Facebook world gets very fired up about something. And yesterday I happened to catch it because I'm usually not on Facebook until like right before bed as I'm trying to like unwind. And somebody got all up in someone's mix about crocking. And I mean, I know what a crock pot is, and I'm like, I don't know what this crocking is. So I started to dig a little bit. And so crocking is, when you're working on something and you've got this real typically vibrant, very bold yarn that you're playing with, and it sort of starts to the dye comes off and it's on your hands, or like new blue jeans, right? New blue jeans kind of rub off and they leave the dye color on your hands. Well, this is apparently called crocking. And what happens is, so for some reason, the dye particles just don't adhere to the yarn well enough. And then they have these other like ways that you can prevent it and things you can do to get it off your clothes. And then they got into this big, like, what was it? I can't fathom this would even work. But this one person was telling everybody that you just need to hand wash it and put some of those dye catch.
A lot of people use die catch. A lot of people who are indie dyers use the die catch.
But that's not okay. So let's say I have my sweater. Let's pretend half of this is white
when they're dyeing, and it will soak up.
Right, sometimes. But they're saying it once you're blocking your own article that you could just put the die catch in, and it's going to, prevent it from bleeding onto lighter colors. And I'm like, it's not going to do that. What do you think? Do you think it would stop if you have a bold, dark blue?
People say it does.
And it's not going to bleed onto something lighter? Would you try it? Would you dare?
I would try it on something else first.
Because I just think that
it's a little swatch or whatever.
If it's so saturated that it's coming off on your hands.
But I've heard a lot of times dye catchers don't work too. But A lot of people swear by the die catcher.
Okay. As far as people that make indie dyeing.
You know, well, here's my opinion on this thing about crocking that I told you. I don't think indie dyers have, the ones that really take the time like I do, have that problem because they give it a vigorous bath and they know how to keep dyeing until it's exhausted. The dye is exhausted.
But this was from
mass produced.
Right. This information that I got was from Fiber Spades, who is a great company.
Mass produced, though. They don't have the time to give each one a vigorous bath.
Right.
And I think that's where the crocking comes in, more so than the really, really good indie dyers take. Well, I'm just small batch, so I can do it.
Yeah.
I give it a good bath. And if, like yesterday when I was doing this one yesterday, a little bit of the saffron still showed. So I gave it a second bath. And by the third little dip, it was gone.
Okay.
But
yeah, no, some of these companies.
But if I had to do 15,000 of these.
Good enough. They'll deal with it. That's on their end.
I'm not going to check the water. I'm going through and doing it.
We've even gotten yarn in from, I remember it was Malabrigo that one time it still smelled very much like vinegar. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And because that's one of the other ways is to throw it through some vinegar and should clean it up in that respect. And yeah, no, we still was like, does this smell weird in here?
Well, I dye it in vinegar because I'll tell you what vinegar does. And it's how I've changed my technique in dyeing lately. Vinegar is a mordant. And so the dye will attach itself. So I used to soak it overnight in the vinegar and water. And then I would rinse out the vinegar and then dye. Well, I've stopped doing that and I leave the vinegar in and lay it there. And now my colors don't all swoosh together and create gross browns once in a while. They stay where I dye.
Do you love this color? It's gross brown. It's going to sell beautifully here.
Now, because they would all run together. And now they don't. They run some, but they kind of stay where they are. They don't spread out because that vinegar is stopping them. Then I wash it all out after I'm done. And I'm much more pleased with my dyeing. But I think that the crocking comes from mass producing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the word, so because you heat it, right? You heat your dye or when you're dyeing it. I mean, maybe that's kind of the derivative, of crocking, crock pot. Maybe that's similar where, I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it like a nerd as I do.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where I've never heard of that term.
But I wouldn't recommend. So if somebody came in and said to me, hey, I'm going to block this and it's blue, like this, and I also have white next to it, should I put it in a wet blocking? I would say no, I wouldn't dare. I would definitely run a test sample, but I wouldn't salt, even with those dye things. No way, I wouldn't trust it.
Some people swear by them, but
well, some people's. I want to hear from you, some people's. All right, what do you say? Why defend why these colors stay black things, why they work?
I just know what works for me.
Okay,
but like I said, I think when it's mass produced, they're not quality checking each one. They're just pushing them through.
Yeah, well,
so if you're using a dark turquoise,
I
just do one or two at a time. Sometimes you say do two, and I do. Not always.
Do two. So anyway, that was kind of a big thing. That was.
I didn't see any of it yesterday.
Well, you clearly were not looking at the cool places I was.
Not.
And so we've gotten a bunch of new stuff in. So I had a meeting with my Juniper Moon rep the other day, just to kind of look at fall colors. It's hard to believe. It's really hard, let me tell you, to buy fall heavy stuff when it's a billion million degrees out, and you're like, I don't know, it's just too hot to even think about wool. But so anyway, I didn't think about wool. What I did was I focused on some really fun cottons that they have. And so I went out of order as far as the way it went. So I'm loving this right now. This is Cumulus. So Cumulus, okay, this one is the dappled.
Pretty color.
They have a bunch of these dappled, but I wanted to play with this to see how it,
the same?
Yep. Oh. It's the same. To see how it sells, right? Because not everything takes off as one might, even, it's the best selling. It's the best selling in the country. Yeah, well, it sat on my shelf for a year, so it's not so great here. But anyway, so I got this, and then they have this other straight colored Cumulus, and I went with this one, which is the bestseller as well, Sandy Castle. So this is Sandy Castle, and this is just regular Cumulus. Now, Cumulus is this very beautiful Israeli Mako cotton. Okay, it's got a little bit of nylon in it, and that's what I like because why? Cotton has no memory, right? So if you're knitting with cotton and it starts to stretch, it's going to stay stretched and it's going to keep growing and growing. So if you're making clothing articles, you know they're going to stretch anyway because of gravity, and you're wearing it. The nylon in it gives it a little and pulls it a little bit better in place. Okay, so these are the first things I want to talk about is with this. So here I got these, and I wanted to play this pattern together. It's called Sliding is Fun, and it's for a little baby blanket. And so I started to play with it because I'm like, it's big, thick. It's worsted weight, but it's almost like a chunky to me. It says worsted, but it plays like a heavy worsted. So this is a fun pattern if you want a quick baby blanket. Okay. Now, I probably in hindsight should have used a different color than this one, but they're fun together. Like I should have used more of a pop like this.
Oh, I don't think so.
I
like the white.
Because so here's what's happening.
They would fight with each other.
They might. So here is the back side. So this is the white side where the is dominant. And here is the color side where the dappled
that's kind of cool,
is dominant. So the way this pattern works, it's called Sliding is Fun. And this is only supposed to be like a stroller size blanket. So not a giant blanket in that respect. So it's cool because what you do is after you cast on, you take your first color. So this is color number 1 for me was this dappled. Okay. And you knit once and you knit back. So it's just garter stitch the whole time. Then what you do is you connect, you slide your stitches back to the other side, and then you pick up color 2, and then you knit back and forth. And then you go back to this side, you slide your needles back here, back and forth. So it creates this ripple effect with the 2 colors kind of playing off each other. So anyway,
that's cool.
It's fun. And this is feels, I mean, it's so soft. This is really so soft and cozy. So if you are looking for a nice baby blanket, again, this is thick and chunky. So if you're making a blanket, that's the way you want to go. I have a friend.
You're only using one of each?
One of each is all it takes. One of each. So, and this is a couple hours of knitting. It's very TV watching.
Yeah, there's knitting. 125 yards.
Yeah, so it's not much. It's just a quick, knits up nicely, and it's fun to play with. My only thing is I'm going so blind, and my room is dark that at night I'm like, which one am I on? So I have to figure that one out. But sliding is fun. This is a really cute, fun, and this is fun yarn. This is fun yarn. We got a few other colors to go with that one too. So now that I've used these as decorations here at the shop. Now, of course, they're selling because they're on the wall. So
I told you they would.
So, here they are. So I got a couple more Cumulus. There's Cumulus Rainbow and there's Cumulus Degradé. And here are the colors that I have here in the shop. So here are the 2 new ones. The 2 new ones. And here are a couple examples of the old ones, which I've got them kind of on the wall like flowers. And then we made some leaves to go around it and all that. But again, this is that same Israeli Mako cotton. And it's just so squishy. You really need to come play with it.
Nice.
You have to come feel it and squish it to feel the love of it. But that's really cool. Really like squishy. It's good for baby blankets and things like that. But it wants to be hand washed. So again, I tend to shy away from that for, new moms because who wants to be hand washing things? So that's one of my new things. What
you make it and you leave it at grandma's.
That's right. So grandma can remember. She'll hand wash it. All right. Judy's been working on. What have you been working on, girl?
Gav strick.
Okay. Let's see how it's going.
And I finished creek bed. You can show creek bed because I don't have gav strick out yet.
Okay. Let me just put these back. So I always have way too much stuff on my plate over here.
I do too.
We take over as soon as we sit down. Well, everything kind of vomits onto the table.
What is it? The sister cowl? We're
yes.
almost done.
Oh, good.
It's too hot.
It's too hot for the sister cowl. It's because it's wool.
This is wool.
This one's fun. What is this one called again?
Creek bed.
Creek bed. That's right.
We're gonna have some kits done.
This is cute. Creek bed. She used what I had left over. Of Corset Factory. This was
you had so much left over that I didn't even have to open the other one.
Spun right round, Corset Factory, and I used it on another baby sweater.
Surprise.
I'll show you that. So there's that. And then this other one was Ba yarn, toasted neutral. It's really fun. I mean, it kind of just, when it sits on the shelf, you really don't notice it.
No,
but when you
and I'll
pull
tell
it,
you what, I didn't like it at first because you only do the bobbles and the bottom part.
I can't believe you actually did something with bobbles.
These
hate bobbles.
bobbles were so easy to do, though.
Yeah.
Just knit front and back, knit front and back, knit front and back. Take them off the needle.
Oh,
Keep going. So yeah, these were very, very easy to do. I didn't do one more whole roll because I was running out of the
corset factory.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, that's enough. And then you just switch to the other, and you just knit. And actually, I was supposed to go, I think 10 more stitches on the needle, and I was like, nope, it's big enough. Good TV watching.
Well, you know what? The good thing, it's all garter stitch, right? Except for your bobbles. Yeah. Well, the good thing is about these little shawls that I like is, here you can use them if you go out, even now in the restaurants, it gets chilly. And
it does.
It's always good to have just an extra little pop in case you need it, but you can shove it in your purse too.
The only thing I did was you're supposed to, on the right side decrease, and I forgot to on a couple rows. So there's a little knob there, but
I think
to look
galloping horse rule. You're all good.
It's like, I could take that out. That's what I get for having somebody over and we're sitting there laughing while I'm knitting.
Well, yeah, you can't do that.
I can't do that.
That's very.
I am paying attention.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. All right, Gav Strick, you've got.
Gav Strick starts and stops. I did that other one and I gave it to my friend, and it just fascinates me because the second half she just doesn't do it. She's just like, oh yeah, you're going to decrease now.
Figure it out.
So I did figure it out, and I love it, and I wanted to do it again. It's a great one to play with colors because you really can't use any variegated. It's not going to look right.
Okay.
Or striping. You've got to use
it's
solid
such a weird
colors.
Construction. Explain how it all comes together.
Alternating parallelograms.
So you start down here?
You start with the I-cord.
Okay.
And then what happens is it's a series of, we're going to do this as a class because it's so much fun.
Okay.
Once you get finished, it's a series of knits and purls, 15 purls, 13 knits. And you either make one or knit two together at the end of each section. And it
goes, like zigzag.
Yeah. No, not really, because it's reversible. You see how this is, this parallelogram is purled, but this one is knit.
Okay.
And then when this section is done, it will switch. The next section will be purl, and this will be knit. Oh. And it
sounds like math.
And you get to here, and you add on, and then you go, and you've got your next section on. So if you can see really closely, as I'm doing this section, all of a sudden down here, I'm building the next one. It's slowly coming, and it'll come up, and then it'll be ready, and then you add on, and you go back. And now you've got a new parallelogram.
That does not sound like couch watching, TV watching.
It is once you get going. Once you realize, you've got to realize if you get to 15 and you're supposed to knit two together, and then purl, let's say you purl your 15 and you're supposed to knit two together, and you see you've got a purl, then you've messed up your count somewhere. And it's just easy to go back 15 and fix it.
That's good. So within the chunk.
Yeah, there's a couple times, though, you got to remember that it switches a lot. And when you switch, now you're making one instead of knitting two together on that section. And so I've been playing with colors, and I really like these colors.
Yeah, those are fun. Very fall.
But I had a rust down here for the blue, and I didn't like it.
You hated that rust.
It did not work. I thought it would. It looks good with the green. It didn't look good with anything else. So I thought, I am not starting over. I did triage. I cut it off. Picked up the stitches. No, I did not pick up the stitches. I cut it off, put the green on the holder, and then I started new with the blue. And when I got to here, I just knit it up. And when I got to here, I Kitchenered it together.
Oh, that makes sense.
And yes, it's done. You can tell on the other side, but I don't care.
Oh, whatever.
You have to really look to realize that I did that. Yeah, I thought, because you got to increase on either side and bring it up or something. And I thought, starting up at the beginning and decreasing down and then doing I-cord is going to be weird. So I just made a whole new one. I did, and then I just Kitchenered them together, and it maybe took 45 minutes to do. Not hard at all.
That's good.
Yep.
And now you didn't have to frog the whole thing.
And now I really, really like the colors. They're different. They're a little bit darker, but man, they're cool.
They are.
And it is. You take 5 or 6 colors and you play.
Let me show it up. to a little bit closer here. So there it is, Gavstrick.
Yeah, once you get going and you understand that the whole dynamic, and the first time doing it by myself, it really, I didn't. But now I do. I mean, I figured it out and it came out really nice, and you blocked it for me.
Yeah. And it made it look like spiderweb. Is that the one?
Yep. And the one that Lena was wearing. No, the one Lena was wearing. And then I gave it to my friend.
Yeah.
Mandy. So yeah, this could be a good class. It's a one that if you're advanced enough to understand it and you want something that's just a little tangy, this is it. And this is fun to do.
Yeah,
it really is. I did do some of it while watching TV. It's just usually by evening I've worked on it all day and then I'm going to work on something else. Yeah.
You're over it.
Yeah, I don't want to push my luck.
Well, we talked about another jacket that the construction is interesting, is the Baby Surprise jacket. And here is, I'm not sure if I showed the finished results. So I finished it up here. And I still have a needle in here.
Oops.
So, yeah, I finished this up, put some buttons on it. This is the coolest, weirdest thing that you make. You just start on one end and then you increase and then you decrease and then you increase and then you do some short rows and then you connect. It's
surprise. It's a jacket.
You just go, what is this? And then you look at it when you're done and you're like, I still don't get it. And then all of a sudden you fold it a couple different ways and you're like, oh my God, this actually worked. So here's my finished one. I think in hindsight, they have that you do the buttons like real, like just boop, boop. And I probably would have done one more to make it just a little bit bigger. But we can stretch those out. That's no big deal. Yeah. So that's the Baby Surprise jacket, Elizabeth Zimmerman.
You can make that and put the creek bed around it.
Yes. It'll be a fancy little dress for it. So we've got that. And I finally had some time. So the 4th of July, I finally had some time. I'd started this project, I think right as we got Knitting for Olive. And
you started back up?
I started it back up. So I started this project when I had just gotten Knitting for Olive, because I'm like, I am going to play with this yarn. I cannot wait to play with this yarn. And so, oops, somewhere in this pile of hideous. This one's called Pearl of the Orient.
Yeah, I need to get back to my garden wall.
And let me show you what the the pattern is. All right, here is part of the pattern. And this isn't even the whole thing, because there's different sections where you have to start with the edging and then you go, just knit from 96 to 120 or from 1 to 26. And then you go to this one. And it's like back and forth between all these things. So this time I was like, all right, I'm going to work this up and I'm going to do it smartly. I'm going to put this all together and I'm going to put these things in. I'm going to color code that and blah, 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 blah. Well, it turns out it was just too freaking much in this. I just was constantly like, where am I? Where am I? But I didn't know that right away. So I cast on, and it's, you cast on, I think like 186 stitches and 187 stitches here. And then you do your little bit. And then they have you add some more stitches and you're like, okay, but this one here is where I start to get screwed up. So it's cast 187 stitches on, and then it's knit and purl, knit 170, knit and purl. Well, I'm going, wait, this isn't adding up. This isn't adding up. And I wasn't looking at the pattern right. So finally I was like, I had to rip it back. So I started again a third time. This is a lot of stitches. But the problem with this pattern is, again, it's because it's, you're going in these chunks. You're doing it in, it's not a straight knit. You're purling. So you're pulling everything. And then this is what it looks like when you're working on it. It's like, I've made this lovely snake. Isn't she pretty? So you can't even see it yet. But here is, so far, as you're going to start to see, like the color work will,
it is pretty.
It will pop at some point when it all comes together and gets blocked. So what I didn't like was when I was first using the Knitting for Olive, I was doing kind of blues and greens going one direction and pinks and purples going in the other direction for the pop. And it was so stripy. I didn't like how stripy it looked. So what I did this time is I bought from Haiku this concentric, which is all 100% baby alpaca. And it comes in this like really lovely squished little baby like this. And you just want to pat it. You just want to pat it all day. And in fact, a side note, this is, it's worsted weights, tons of yarn. It's 4 strands. So when you're playing with it, you're actually playing with 4 strands of yarn that you're marling together. this woman came into the shop. I don't know if I've told this yet. She came into the shop and she's like, well, I can't find a thing here. She's everything's $48. She picked this up. This is the only thing that I have in the shop. That's $48. I was like, okay, we have a lot of things that aren't $48. In fact, most of the stuff's not $48. Well, everything in the shop's $48. So anyways, if you're going to go with like 400 yards of baby alpaca, it's expensive. That's baby alpaca, man. You only get one shearing. That's how it works. But so here's what I don't like about this yarn. The only thing I don't like is when you take it out, it then expands and keeps growing and growing, because it was in this little squished little guy like this. And now it's taken on a life of its own. So
babies grow up.
Babies grow up. So, but yeah, so this is really fun. So what's happening is it started off all of this light blue, like gray color. And now, because I've pulled out a couple of times when you're trying to frog baby alpaca, the fibers tend to stick together. So start over again. So it changes slowly. So you get first 4 of the same color, and then one of the strands changes colors, and then the second strand changes colors. And so you're gradually
dropping off one and picking up.
You're gradually
like
changing your colors.
Wolves.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that it's going to give the effect that I want for this Pearls of the Orient. And I thought I had the picture of the actual project, the finished one, but you know me, I always have 7,000 pieces of paper, price lists, and here's this, and here it is. So here's what it will look like when I am finished. But again,
her 87th birthday.
And I'm not doing it as a blanket. I'm going to stop it as a tapestry. So once I get through, I think I'm just going to then put it up just to kind of play with the yarn. But anyway, this is fun. But so I was casting it. You know, every time you start a project sucks, right? It sucks. So you got to cast it all on, and then you got to count it, and then you got to make sure you've got it here, and then you got to do your ribbing, and then you got to when you get ready to go, it's going to take about this much before you start to see your pattern emerge and you understand what the pattern's asking of you. And I was like, my watch was like, are you working out? Would you like to record this as a workout? I'm like, I'm not working out. Stop judging me. Stop judging me. This is so relaxing. So
Gordon's at that point, Gordon always says, do you want me to walk up to Randall's and get the line?
Yeah, this is so relaxing. Yeah, so it wasn't relaxing. So anyway, but yeah, so this is kind of, if you want to challenge yourself, this is my, I'm trying to work with multiple pieces of yarn, and you have to, it's worsted weight. So these I'm doubling. So
you're doing the worsted?
Yeah, because I wanted to use this one, and this is worsted weight. So I couldn't just use one of these because then it gets lost.
And my garden walk is fingering.
Yeah. So it gets lost when you only use a little guy with these big guys, even though they don't look that much different, they get like kind of eaten up. So anyway, I'm doubling this, and I don't know. I'm like, why don't I just bite off Everest here and make that come together?
Nobody puts you on a timeline.
No, I just work on it when I can, but it is fun. I like to challenge myself, but there are definitely things that I'm like, never mind. I'm just going to go back to the sliding is fun. So anyway, that is what's going on there. We are going to start a new thing here at Irreverent Knits. And Judy, talk about our pop-up.
We decided to see if you're watching on we have a new thing called, I forgot, podcast pop-ups. There you go. Say that 5 times really fast.
Pop-up.
Okay, a podcast pop-up is something that we've put on sale just the day of the podcast. It's 15% off, right?
Right. Yep.
But in order to get that sale, you either, when you order, if you're not close by and you order online, you have to put in podcast pop-up.
That's gonna.
If
I'm going
you
to add
come
that
into the shop, you have to tell us as you buy it, this is a podcast pop-up. And you can't announce it to the whole store. This is a podcast pop-up. So here's today's. This is what we're doing for today.
These, look at how cute
It'll
these
be
little
something
tins
different
are.
every time.
So these are totally not barber cords. These are, we can't say barber cords because it's trademarked.
Stitch holder cards.
These are yarn cords. Knitting cords. Let's call them knitting cords. These are knitting cords. So the knitting cords, we have a bunch of different sizes and colors and stuff like that. But what these are, if you haven't played with them, they are Really cool. Okay. What they do is we use this instead of waste yarn, or if you're going to put your stitches aside to make sleeves or things like that, and you need to put them aside, these are great because they stretch. So if you have to try something on, so if you've got your garment and you want to try on to see if this, it's long enough or what have you, if it fits through the bust, whatever the case is, these stretch. So you're not stuck with just this little piece of cord that you've tied your
I know.
interchangeables on.
And then I've gone, oh, look, it came untied.
Yeah. And then your stitches fall off. I'm probably
this can come untied too. You just have to be careful.
These can. You just have to. There's 3 of them in there. One's 60 inches, 50 inches, and one's about 25
and you know
inches.
what? One set that I bought, it wasn't from you. Somebody sent me a set as a gift. I cut them. I cut them to fit what I needed. Like I took the 2 shorter ones are long enough for a neck.
Yeah.
So I took the longer one and cut them smaller for like cuffs. And so they go on like this. Mm-hmm. And you really do push them down tight.
Yep.
And then be very careful how you put them, then your stitches will just slide onto here.
Yep.
And you've got them on here. Don't go, because then they'll go everywhere.
Yep. And we've learned from that.
Yes.
So
you just kind of slide them on. Mm-hmm. And then once you get them on,
just tie it up.
Just tie it up.
Yep. Just tie it up. And then, you can untie it very easily. Try it on, change things around.
Well, and what I like about them too, they're not bulky and getting caught up in your knitting and everything else. Like when you've got them on some stitch holders, they get stuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
The ones that always get stuck are the ones that look giant safety pins to me. Yeah. So if you put your sleeves on those safety pins, they're always getting.
They would fall off. And I would put a piece of rubber on it so that they wouldn't come loose.
Okay. I don't even do that. I just was like, oh, and they would get caught on that.
Come off. They come apart.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have something special in yours.
I do. So we love these here. These are cord stoppers, but we use them here on the ends of our needles. So these are just little cord stoppers, and each of these knitting cords kits comes with 2 of these, and we use them in fact to.
And I'll tell you what, the minute I show somebody how to do this with the colors, they immediately want to buy a set.
Yep.
And because I'll be teaching a class or whatever, and she wants to stop because it's the end of the row. She goes, and 9 times out of 10, when they come in, they go, I don't know what I've done wrong. Well, they've picked it up and gone the wrong direction. So what I do is make sure that every single one of them has a warm color and a cool color. So this would be my cool color. This would be a little bit warmer. This is a little bit harder with these. But decide, because usually I pick out a red and a green. You put the red one, this is going to be red, on the needle where you stopped. Where you're going to keep going, you put the warmer color on. That way, when you pick it up, you didn't get to play for a couple days on it. You go, oh yeah, this is the needle where I stopped, and then there's my working yard. So I'm going to take this one off and go this way. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pick it up and go back this way and then come in and go, why is my knitting like this? I don't understand what I did wrong. 9 times out of 10, that's what it is.
Well, even on certain projects, so we have the Cocoa Knits little stitch markers, and I love those
too.
Oh, I love those. So I've
sold a ton of those.
Those are terrific. So what I do is we've been making these leaves for a project that I'm working on, and they're all garter stitch. So I can't always tell which side's the right side, and I get lazy to put a marker on one of them. So I just have one green and one red. So I know that when I'm on the green side, I need to increase, and when I'm on the red side, I just knit plain.
So I've sold a lot of those because you've been out of the little cord stuff.
I know. Well, I've been selling them, so it's a good thing. So I'm getting some good feedback. I said, so Lisa is saying that you don't have to put your products up to the camera lens, but you can. What you see is what we see. Put the product so it's in front of your face. I think she just wants to block our faces. I think that's what she's like. Hey, southern hair. And then hold your phone to this. Oh, then closer to your phone screen. Okay. Well, we'll definitely do that up there. Yeah. There's my phone up there. Here is my computer.
Yeah, we're on 2 different systems.
We're famous. Not at all. But yeah,
we're like a sitcom.
That's from different angles, you would think. But we're winging this. But yeah, well, good. I'm glad, because sometimes I get told we can't see things. And kids, I'm glad. I want you to be able to see them. So what I do want you to see is Judy's been whipping up some new colors here.
Oh, but the garage is hot. The
Oh, God,
the
I
hot
know.
garage.
Oh, I don't even know how you're in there. Do you have a fan at least?
I just open up the garage doors.
She
It's
gets
fine.
up at like 2
I
o'clock
do
in
it
the morning.
No, I'm not. I'm just doing it in the morning. And actually, it hasn't been bad. If it gets to it, because I put it in, and I don't stay in there the whole time. I put it in my warmers, and then I leave.
So this one I love, and I may steal this, but
I've
this
been
one,
playing with new colors. I was trying something, and it doesn't work. You know that one colorway I
Yeah.
showed you on Pinterest? I said, let me try this. Well, these are the result of me trying them, and it's not working.
so
but that's
here
okay.
is Painter's Palette.
And it's got a lot of purples in it.
This is really pretty. And in fact, I think I named it that because it
turquoise.
looked like my daughter is an artist and she has this palette, but she's kind of gross with it, I think. I mean, maybe this is normal, but she lets the paints go up and up and up. And I'm finally like, no, that needs to go. That needs to go. It's just too messy. But this is what her palette looks like. So,
So this one doesn't have as much purples and pinks in it. This more blues and greens than the purples and pinks.
oh, I like this one named Fraser Park. So this is Fraser Park here. It's up here.
And I liked it. I liked it when it came out. That's the one I did yesterday.
Yeah.
That's the only good thing about it being so hot. I can throw this outside.
Yeah, it
once
dries in 2
It dries
seconds.
in like in an hour.
So this one's a little more muted, back country road. So here, this definitely feels like when you're driving down May River Road and you've got all those trees that hang over and it's kind of like this filmy
I love driving
look.
backcountry roads.
It's so
much
beautiful. That really feels like the South to me is when
Yeah.
we're driving and we've got all those big trees with the Spanish moss and very lovely. Very, very lovely. So anyways, we got these 3, but typically they go quickly. So if you want one, either
Excuse me.
reach out
Brand
to me.
new
Brand new.
colors. But of
Not
course
even in the system yet.
I always write them down.
I know.
I'm sorry. I'm being inside. I am so stopped up and so
So yeah, so those are some colorways. I also bought these. Was speaking to me, and I don't know why these aren't normally my colors, but this was so
I
fun.
think that's great.
This is Color Burst, and there's been a couple of shawls that I've seen online that really seem to be pulling to these colors.
Remember the one I showed you?
Yes. So there are
That's
a couple
perfect
shawls
for it.
that seem to be using this. And Color Burst is great because it really looks like you're doing all these color changes like you do on something. Oh, I thought I pulled up this one. Like this, where you are actually changing colors. This one just kind of does it for you. And
but I like this.
that one's so beautiful to
This
me.
may have to go home with me.
This one's really fun too. This is also Color Burst. So this one, what's this one called? Lollipop, which makes sense. This is Lollipop
this
here.
one?
And that one is Chevron. So that one is Chevron Lollipop.
I like the Lollipop. Lollipop, what's so much fun?
And let's see, there is a third one is this one, which is Romance. Dun, 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 dun.
That'd be pretty
So,
with something that you had to wear for a wedding.
yes, it's just very lovely, nice, muted pinks and purples, but not like garish. They're really
No,
nice.
the purples kind of almost go grayish.
Yes. So I do like these. It's a good price point and it gives you 660, is that 60? Where my glasses go? 660 yards. So, I mean, you can get a shawl out of this. You could get
Look at us all.
almost, I know.
660.
Yeah. Well, almost a tee. So, I mean, depending on the size that you're playing with here, cowl, hat, those types of things. There's a lot of yardage on those 3. So those are fun. And I started with this new yarn and this is the Poema line. This is a Laine du Nord. Okay. Poema. The colors are fabulous, but this is Poema Cashmere. So it's a little pricier because of course, cashmere, but the colors are absolutely decadent. So these are 2 that you've got going on here. And then I've got a few others. This one is one, this blue. This is the one that I have in the picture online, and the Poema Cashmere here. It's just really fun.
What's the price point on these?
I think they're like 50.
50?
Yeah. I think they're
everything
50
in the store is 50
It's
bucks.
48. Everything's 48. Oh, now it's 50. So this one, they're just really lovely, but it is so soft. It really is just, I mean, cashmere. How bad could it be? So
how many yards?
This one is their luxury line. It is 545 yards. I mean, there's good yardage, but it is fingering weight. So,
This would be good for the wedding I have to go to.
that
Those
would be.
colors.
That's those colors in there. So nice fall. Those are some fall
Let me think
colors.
about
So we're playing with those. A lot of, what's coming up a lot in this fall is really kind of back to basics. So
It
this
is.
one-
I'm not seeing a lot of sweaters.
It's not. There's not a lot. It's a
the
lot.
the big thing was the yoke sweaters and everything and the Fair Isle.
Yes.
And I'm seeing them, but they're older patterns.
There's a lot going back to the basic fisherman sweater, the basic grandpa sweaters. There's a lot of cabling, which I love. So, and the colors are really just kind of back to your basics. So this is called Moonshine. I love Moonshine. Juniper Moon Fine. So this one's Moonshine Fine. Okay. And you'll see that the basics, this is their color palette for the fall. And it's really just muted basic blues and basic reds. And it's kind of just going back. This one is color 2006. They don't have a name on their cards for it. They do online, but these are the colors. And this one I went with just a little bit because this reminded me of New England in the fall, winter. You know, this is their kind of colorway here. This is Moonshine as well. And they have some others as well, but I wanted to see how they play out. So I've got someone making a little bit of a sample for me and I want to play with it too. But they're luxurious. It's very soft. It's baby alpaca, but it's also wool, nylon, and silk. So it's going to give you the stitch property with the wool. The silk gives it the softness, of course, with the alpaca. And then the nylon's going to give it a little more hold. Okay. And so we've been talking about nylon and hold and things like that quite a bit today. So I wanted to show you why it matters. Okay. Once in a while when I, have 3 seconds to breathe, which is usually summer because I'm not teaching, I try to get stuff done that I'm like, I really need to do that. So I took home a lot of the swatches that we have because occasionally we'll throw some swatches together when we have time. And you'll see that most of the swatches we do put. So here is that Juniper Moon that I was showing you. That is the Cumulus dégradé. Okay. So this is the Cumulus rainbow. It's really soft. It's really squishy. And then normally we'll put a little bit of a barrier around it. And why is that? Because things stretch and they grow. And you see that with stockinette stitch. Okay. Stockinette stitch is all knit in one way and purl the other way. Right. And so those stitches fight each other. Right. They're contrasting. One's going in one direction, one's pushing, one's pulling. Right. And so things tend to fold up like this when it's just a stockinette stitch. So you do want your ribbing. And so that's what I wanted to show is that even when you block it, so I block this, it's still doing that roll because there's nothing in it that's holding it.
It's why on a sweater you want to put ribbing
to stop competing. So this is why it rolls. So you want your ribbing or an I-cord or something that's going to give it a little bit of structure.
So many people do that on Facebook. What can I do to get it to stop rolling? And everybody's like, nothing.
You can't. You have to put something in there. And again, so this is the Millefiori. This is again some nice fall colors here. But if you don't have anything in there, even though I just block this rolls up like that. So that is
even blocking isn't going to hold it.
So you'll see this too. So this one is a nice soft fine silk material, but it's already starting to curl because it's got nothing holding it together. So we do try, you'll see in some of the other ones, again, here they are, they start to roll. So the ones that this little linen swatch here,
that's a pretty linen.
Yeah, this is Zoe. We got more Zoe coming in too. So this is segue. Thank you. So we've got some Zoe. This one I liked because, I'm blue green girl. This is Zoe Stripes. So this one is great. Zoe is terrific. Juniper Moon Farm because it's got that linen and it's got a little bit of cotton. And, so again, the linen and cotton blend, it still stretches, but less than straight cotton. Because it has no memory.
Straight linen.
Right.
So the linen just grows and grows and grows, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, no. Even blocking it doesn't come back.
Well,
yeah, those are all, they're great materials. They're natural and things like that, but they just take on a life. They have no memory. So as soon as wool has great memory, but, obviously we don't want wool for everything because.
What's the price point on this?
I don't know. I have to put it in the system yet. I haven't done that.
This would be pretty in that Pink Princess.
Yes.
Peppermint Princess.
Peppermint Princess. Judy pulled this pattern yesterday. Absolutely beautiful. I was like,
it's trending on Ravelry right now.
Peppermint Princess. My printer stinks. So here's Peppermint Princess. And it's got some really fun striping. The back is, Judy showed a picture
like
of it.
A honeycomb.
Yeah, this picture is terrible. So you have to look at Peppermint Princess online. So you can't really see it, but it's like a honeycomb. But that seems like I'm too lazy for that amount of work for a t-shirt, so I would do it in maybe sleeves or a band or something.
Yeah, we were talking about that. How would that look cute? And actually, I just like the stripes. Maybe not even put the honeycomb on it.
Right. Super
and
cute.
This one this one, you have to see the whole thing because it's a little bit longer and it has the cutest pockets on it. And
pockets.
Yeah, I love pockets.
Everyone does.
And you can do it as a hoodie. It even shows one version as a hoodie.
So I'm going with Fenya.
I want to do this.
Going with Fenya for the pronunciation, Fenja. I'm going with Fenya, but it is a cardigan, which I am a huge fan
I'm probably
of. The
going to do that one first. I really like.
So this one is really great. It's really fun colors.
And I'm telling you, like the one I would do more, like another row here, another color here, another color here.
So add
here,
some.
Here.
No one can see you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, add some additional
I would add
striping.
more colors. See, look, the stripes are too far apart.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Judy's name. I'm not doing it this. I'm going to do it this way. It's easy. I can show you how. And that's how Judy changed. Middle child. It's middle child syndrome.
It's like, actually, like I said, there was a sweater that I loved. There was a cardigan that did that. And it was in a magazine. And I talked to the designer because she doesn't sell the pattern on Ravelry. And she's from another country. And she finally tracked down the magazine for me and said, you could buy the magazine from here.
Wow, that was a lot of work.
By the time you paid the tax and the shipping and everything else, it's like, well, there just went 4 balls of yarn for it. So I did not do it. And this reminds me of it so much, this Fenya.
So it's time. It's time to make this Fenya.
I'm doing it.
I like it. I like it a lot. So I bought some more Noro as we're getting into the fall season. It's a little bit heavier. Sometimes Noro to me is scratchy, or it's just got this feel to it. It does tame itself when you're working with it. It gets softer. And then of course, once you block it, it does get a little bit softer. But this one, there's just something really fun about it. This is called Silk Garden. So it's not.
Silk Garden's a big seller.
Yeah.
And you know what? With going back to what we talked about earlier, these are really saturated colors. But I've worked with Silk Garden a lot and I've never had it come off on my hands.
No. And I've been,
they do something with theirs.
Well, there is a process that they can do with some and it helps prevent that. You can quote me on that as well.
And you know what? And the same thing with sometimes, I know this was a big deal with fabric when I was on the quilt shop, a lot of the gold flecks and everything in it. They're always from another country because their EPA laws,
their standards aren't the same.
Not as stringent as ours, and they can do it. We can't.
So we just put Goldschlager on it and then call it a day.
So the process that you're talking about here may be something that we're not allowed to do in the United States. Probably.
So I had somebody come ask me because we have some mercerized cotton, and they're like, "Well, what's the difference between regular cotton and mercerized cotton?"
I knew that at one time and I've forgotten it.
So what it is when you have the cotton and when it becomes mercerized, is what they do is they kind of submerge it in sodium hydroxide. Okay. Now, sodium, salt, of course, what does it do? It absorbs water and it makes it expand, right? Like no one wants to eat 25 pounds of chips before they go to the beach because you look like a beach ball, right? All puffy. So what it does is it gets into the cells of the yarn and it puffins them up. And it makes them kind of absorb the dye in a different way. So mercerized just really means that it's gotten in there, it's gotten puffed up, and then it's going to take the dye in a different way. And it's going to create a more puffy looking yarn than just straight cotton. So it's a simple explanation, but that's kind of what the difference is.
It's easier to work with than the unmercerized.
Yeah.
Unmercerized is usually very, very thin and very fine. And it's almost like used for doilies and tatting. And
I mean, but not all cotton's mercerized anyway, but it comes in different forms and things like that. But if you see mercerized cotton, it's usually softer. It's usually more like pliable, and the color usually holds a little differently. So that's the difference. Nothing too crazy.
Just look at my leg.
Oh, so Judy's been playing with all these different dyes.
Yeah, you know what? I had a bunch of jars that still had dyes in them, so I threw the minis in just to get rid of them, and those are really saturated. So look at all those and go, can you go lighter with that? And the answer is yes.
So these are,
and some of them are new colorways that I got.
they're fun. And I turned them, I just got a pile of yarn and I had to then put them all into these fun little worms.
We have down in Savannah Savannah Art and Design. And in the one district called Starlandia, they have, which is really cool, it's an art consignment store. And what it is, because a lot of the SCAD students, where's the one I want to talk about? This one. A lot of the SCAD students need just a little bit for one class, but they had to buy a whole kit or whatever. So at the end of a semester, they take it into the store and then they get credit for whatever they need. So you can buy almost brand new stuff. There's sewing machines. There's all kinds of art supplies. You name it. There's fabric, paper, stuff. It's in there. Some of them are new. Well, I went in just looking and they had dye, and I actually got 11 jars of dye of colors I've never had for like $10.
Now, price point, what would it normally cost?
Oh, $6-7 with before shipping and handling.
More? $6-7 more?
Okay. Each little jar would be $6 or $7 that you buy, because you buy it in the powder form.
Okay.
And each jar would be $6 or $7 before you get the
all the add-on tax fees.
All the add-on. So I bought 11. I think about it. I bought 11 colors for $1.50 each.
Wow.
So it was a really good deal. Okay. But this one was, but some of the colors I've gone back and looked, I can't find. I can't find it on Dharma. I can't find that colorway on what I use, which is Pro Chem. I can't find them, even though they say Dharma, and I look them up. So I'm wondering if
discontinued.
Either that, or are they? And the labels are different. So I'm wondering if it's like special dyes that teachers could order.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? For a class. But this one's called Kingfisher, and I really like that. It's just a different turquoise.
Yeah.
It's got really more greens in it.
Yeah,
that pop
that one's
out.
really. In fact, this looks like fiber spates.
Yeah,
that
I
bag
have
you did
true turquoise, and the green doesn't come out like it does in that.
This one's
so
really
these
pretty.
are really intense because I just threw them in, and I got to.
The challenge is, though, is if we become addicted to this, we're not going to be able to find it again.
I don't know. I bet you I can find out. I bet you I could call Dharma, and they would say that this is the same thing. We've just renamed it or something.
No, that's that. So we are playing with these.
You're going to call and say, "I'm a teacher, and I need this.
I need this to teach Spanish."
Like this one is green eggs, and I love this one.
This one, to me, this looks like Matisse blue.
I think that's sapphire.
Oh, that makes sense too. This looks.
But
like,
I love this green.
Yeah, that one's really cool. So I'm thinking, what if we just sell these as like one kit and put something with it?
Put them with them. Put a band around them, and you can do anything with them. I think.
This looks like Raggedy
Blue Sky does something like that with their 21
here.
colors.
Yeah, they have a lot of the 21
those
colors.
In to show you.
There's
what
a
they
snood.
look like.
A snood.
Yeah, there's not 21 there.
No, there's like I think 11.
But what I was doing was using up my dye stock before it got old.
We're gonna put a kit, I think, together with this because it's fun. We could
get it. You can do so much with it. There's 46 yards in each one.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
There's a lot of colors.
You can make something. The other thing that we are playing with here. I was going to show you this new. Look at how pretty this. My friend Robin, who is just this wonderful knitter but just an amazing person, and she's so smart. I'm so bummed when she goes out of town because I enjoy talking to her. She's very smart. She made this as a swatch for a project she's working on, and so she's so gracious and lets me have all these swatches. But this was with Fua Fua, which is moondrake, and Fua Fua is brushed like a brushed cashmere. So fun, so fun. But look at how pretty and bright those look. Yeah. Yep. So that we've got coming up.
Oh, the bag. You can use those things for the bag.
The bag.
All those.
Yeah.
And also that baby hat too.
So here's one more thing that we've added. So this woman came in and she is relatively new to our area. And what she does is she makes earrings and jewelry out of not typical things.
Old metal needles.
So this is one of the
bright
things.
Colored metal.
Right. So the
needles.
Susan Bates the Susan Bates that you inherited from your grandmother, and you're like, who the hell uses these things? They're so slippery and wielding and But anyway, so she wanted to see if I wanted to sell some of her jewelry here. And so these are really kind of funky earrings, and they're made from, like Judy said, knitting needles, and then a few other things, some baubles on them, and they're really cool. So I tried to figure out a way. This is what I did: was I zip tied them to this ladder so that you could display them all, and they don't just wander off. So these are here. These are really good presents for holidays, especially if you've got an avid knitter in your life, or self-preservation. You're like, I need something for my sanity. I want something.
You're going to a retreat or a convention and you want to stand out.
Wow, so I got those not in the box. So yeah, those are definitely here at the shop. We've had some great kids camps this summer. So if you are like, I don't know, I want to make these amigurumi. First of all, I can't pronounce amigurumi. Yes, it's amigurumi.
I can never
I know you can't, but I got you. I'm a language girl. So amigurumi, it just is Japanese for this little stuffed animals. And they're so cute. So we had a couple of camps, and this one just makes me laugh every time I see it. This was this.
Oh, they were so cute when they were done.
So this is just this little tiny chicken. The chicken actually was a rooster. But the kids decided they didn't want to make the comb on the rooster. They wanted to give him really big legs and feet.
And they figured out how to do the legs, and they just keep growing and growing. Some of them have legs this long.
Legs were like, you can wear them as a scarf on your head. We were dying laughing. And listening to these kids make these, it's just adorable. So this is a great project. It was beginner. It's not hard at all. We were able to get it done in like 4 hours because we split it over 2 days. And so these to me are a faster, better way if you want to teach someone or yourself or little how to crochet. These are great because they're kind of forgiving with what they're looking for, and they're all different shapes and sizes when you're done. It's not like trying to make a sweater at first go, because we have these kits here. Let me see, I grabbed one. So here's one of the ones that we have, and so these are cute, adorable kits from Circolo, and what we do is we offer this kit plus a 2-hour lesson because they say, it's so easy. So we've seen these woobles that are out there, right? It's so easy. Teach yourself to crochet. No, dude, it is not that easy. So you're going to open it up. If you've never crocheted before, you're going to go, what? I mean, it's not broken down at all for you. It's just given as a normal pattern. So there's all kinds of these out there. And so this is something that, you want someone to give you a little bit of guidance. They have some, you could always look things up on YouTube, but not everything's out there or in a way that makes sense. And so, make sure that when you are Googling information on YouTube, always put slow when you're looking for the directions, because then you'll have somebody that will explain it in a nice slow way instead of like, yep, then you're going to put this together over here and we're done. Yay. So
I have a hard time using YouTube.
Well, my problem is that I can use it for things that I already know how to do, and I'm just trying
It's like GPS. I know how to get out of my neighborhood. Tell me what to do when I get on the road. You got to pull out of your driveway. Now up here, you're going to turn left. Yeah, it's my neighborhood. Right. I know how to get out. And they're doing the same thing. All right, so you have your needles, and they show you 15 times. Yeah. Your needles. See, here's your needles.
And then you do
take this yarn. And so you got your yarn. Now you got your yarn, and you got this. And we're going to do this. And now, okay, I've been 15 minutes, and you haven't even done the stitch yet. Yeah. It's like.
Yeah. But then again, so with podcasts too, people are like, if you're answering a question, you got to get right to it. Well, this is like a show as opposed to just like a question and answer.
Performance art.
This is
interpretive yarn. Interpretive dance.
So we chat a lot, but we're not really into we could definitely answer some questions. That's why when I throw out some of these things, it's because it's
well, you should have seen when I got here because we hadn't seen each other for a week.
Yeah.
And then
So anyway, a couple other colors that are coming in again for fall. You're going to see a lot of heathered stuff. It seems to be
I love the heather.
Basics and muted. So these are both Harriet. Okay. Again, I told you my Juniper Moon Farms rep came in. So these are just nice light pinks. They're very beautiful. This is a lot of fun to work with.
This is like a muted raspberry, and I love that.
So these are non-museling. Okay, so baby alpaca, but procured in a kind way, because museling is not good for the animals. So that's kind of what we've been doing, other than trying to stay cool. So hopefully you have a nice.
Almost, if the air conditioning hadn't gotten fixed, we were going to become the naked knitting show.
No, we were not. God help you and save you.
I have to tell you this. I haven't told this. This is real quick. I'm driving up to the clubhouse yesterday because we're going to have this little meeting, and two of the maintenance people behind me, and they're in their golf carts, and I'm watching them because all of a sudden this woman comes out of the pool, and she is gorgeous, but she has got on the tiniest little French bikini you have ever seen.
Did the golf carts crash?
And no cover up. I'm gonna walk down the sidewalk. And I went, oh, they're gonna crash. They didn't. They held it together. I was so impressed. In fact, I went out on my porch this morning.
Well done, gentlemen.
Looking for James because I was gonna say, James, nice golf cart driving. I really expected that to go right up into the bushes, and you didn't. You just kept going because I'm driving. I'm going, oh, this is gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what these guys.
Good job,
are.
James.
They were
good job, James. So so you're welcome. Our gift to you today, aside from our 15% off for our pop-up
podcast pop-up.
Podcast pop-up.
You like that? That was after a glass
Some
of wine and I
alliteration.
texted her.
Yeah.
I think we should do this.
We should definitely do. I'm like, yeah, just remind me. It sounds good. I don't remember, but yeah. So aside from 15% off.
That was
Ralph?
me.
Oh, that
I
was
am
you.
so sorry.
Yeah.
I kicked it.
Ooh, sorry about that.
When I was in college, that started a riot in a bar because somebody had a bucket of beer and I was swinging my feet like that.
Yeah,
and I hit the table and the table went like this and he spilled the bucket of beer and he thought we did it on purpose. So he picked up another bucket and went like this and I ducked and it hit my friend's brand new coat. This was on High Street at Ohio State. And that started a riot and we sneaked out and kind of like
my bad.
Because I'm crying. I'm going, I didn't mean to. Ooh, look, here it comes. So
good reflexes. So anyway, like I said, our gift to you is not naked. Today we are fully clad and you're welcome for that.
It's air conditioned.
Yes, thank you. So if you have any questions, reach out, let us know. We'll do our best to answer it. If not, we'll make a good story up and sound fun.
Yeah, we both have theater in us, so we can make up anything.
Yeah, we're good like that, right on the fly. So thank you for staying with us, and we appreciate all of your support. If you like what you're seeing, if you think we're funny, if you want to support my little business, please help an orphan out. Not an orphan, but you know what I mean. I was trying to pull my Oliver Twist, and I failed.
You did.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. Have a great few weeks.
Stay cool.
I don't know if I'm going to be here in 2 weeks because I'll be in New York.
I don't think you are. I think
I think I'm in New York.
It's all me. Come on in.
Party at the shop. So anyway, shrimpandknits.com. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you've enjoyed today. Share it if you like it. Subscribe even better if that way I can, show people the world like, here's what we do, yo.
It's time to go. Oh, Lord, girl.
End stream.
You got a call.
End stream. Thanks, guys.
Who was a call from?
I don't know.
Probably she's yelling, podcast pop up.
No, cancel. So you want to share. And